For over 50 years, antibiotics have played a huge role in the protection of livestock, starting with the discovery that they were even an antimicrobial agent, which basically means that they fight bacteria. So advancements in medicines in the 1940s for humans flowed over into veterinary medicine, which helped create antibiotics that could cure diseases like bovine tuberculosis and a common infection in the udder, which is called mastitis. As antibiotics were being incorporated further and further into the diets of livestock, farmers began to notice changes in them. They were becoming healthier, growing faster, and their feed to energy rate was increasing, in addition to their product production. Concerns later developed over antibiotic resistance in bacteria that livestock could carry and could be transmitted to humans through their food consumption. Antibiotic use in livestock production, however, is a necessary method. Today I will describe the ways in which antibiotic use in livestock is a necessary method by addressing how it is used to treat bacterial illnesses, how it is used as a preventative measure, and how it's a safe way for growth and feed efficiency. So, in my first claim, livestock antibiotic use helps to treat any major bacterial illness. Just like people, livestock can get major illnesses that require antibiotic treatment. So Temple Grandin, who's an animal science behaviorist at University of Colorado State University, noticed that at one organic dairy farm, they refused to use antibiotics to treat their calves, their Holstein calves, which led to the death of 30% of their stock. So without the use of the antibiotics, these calves could have been saved, but they didn't want to remove the label of organic. So it shows that it is an important factor in livestock. There's also a lack of quality product if these animals aren't being treated, because once a livestock animal gets sick, they must be quarantined for at least 1 month, according to Dr. Stacy Byers in an interview by Deb Blakely. This quarantine means that the entire animal is separated from the herd, and all that product, like such as milk, is not being used because it will be filled with infectious things like pus. So another point is that when major illnesses break out, it could easily spread to a herd because these animals are around others. So it endangers them because it could easily cause an epidemic. So moving on to my second point, livestock antibiotic use is a major prevention tool. So again, it goes back to herd health. The more animals that a farmer can have in one place, the less that consumers have to pay for those products because they're able to get more animals in there. And if farmers can't have these healthy animals, then prices will rise because it's going to become less and less products. So the prevention of these illnesses also ensures animal welfare, which is defined as preventing pain, fear, and stress in the animal. And according to the Department of Agriculture, there is the Animal Welfare Act that is identified by most as the minimal acceptable standard. So by ensuring that these animals aren't getting sick and they are living a healthy, productive life, they are following the standards of this act. So it's also been seen by Paul Emner, who works in a Department of Animal Science at his university, that there is a correlation between an increase in animal illness to human illness. So by keeping, well actually that was done by Purdue University, Paul Emner states that it is difficult to determine the root of the disease, but there has been a correlation between increase in animal illness and human illness. So by keeping animal illness down with these preventative antibiotic measures, human illness will also be kept down. So my last point is that contrary to the belief that antibiotics are a growth hormone, they actually promote healthy development. So professors in the animal science department at Purdue University have seen and studied that healthy animals just grow better. So if you look at any organism, and like animal that's sick, isn't getting the right amount of feed, etc., they don't grow well. They're going to be skinny, their immune system's low, so they're not going to achieve the maximum efficiency and size that they could. Whereas if you're getting healthier animals who aren't getting sick all the time, they're going to be more productive, get bigger, stronger, etc., which is why people believe that it's a growth additive hormone. So another thing is that farmers can just avoid it altogether. If they're using these antibiotics in the feed, they don't need to be adding all these extra hormones to get their livestock bigger. And by their livestock being more productive, they're spending less money on feed since their feed to energy conversion rate is higher. They don't have to buy as much. This saves land because they don't need to grow as much. And it saves money because they're not spending as much. So, in conclusion, antibiotic use provides an effective way in order to decrease the outbreaks of disease, quickly treat bacterial illnesses, and provide a safe way and quickly and efficient ways to raise livestock to their complete potential without having to use additives, well, growth hormone additives. With all these economically and biological benefits, it's clear that it is a necessary method.
All right, Sarah, I think I said it to somebody else earlier. One of the problems is in the way you phrased the claim, yet it sounds like it's an informative speech. I'm going to show you how it is necessary. And if you look at all of the secondary claims in your preview, they all start with that same kind of phraseology, how. So it makes it sound like an informative speech. You want declarative sentences here. And that's not hard to do. It's just clearer when people are listening as to what the point that is that you're making. So that's a little bit of a problem at the beginning. But there is a preview, there is a structure, and you signpost pretty well as you're going through that, so the body of the speech is easy for people to follow and listen to. I thought that was easy to appreciate. Sometimes the transition between the points is a little abrupt. It just felt like, well, now, point two, and we were suddenly there, okay. It's like a bat turn. Suddenly the parachute comes out and the car turns around rapidly, and now we're going in a different direction. I think you need a little bit more transition language there to make it easier for us to listen to, but it was clear that part wasn't the problem, so that's good. The information that you cited is usually, you usually give us a source citation with that. That's pretty good. I don't always get a date citation, so some of this might need to be, it might be recent, it could be older. I have no idea of knowing because I don't know when the information and the studies are being referenced. The Purdue University seems to be responsible for a big chunk of information on the second and the third points, and that seems to be maybe in response to criticisms or issues, papers that have been written, or public outcries about something. And I think if you gave us a little bit more context on that, we could see why this is a little bit more controversy. Otherwise, it sounds like, well, okay, so farmers use antibiotics to fight disease, and that's a good thing for the animals. Who says it's a problem? Why is anybody worried about this? Why is this a dispute? And I think that there are arguments, and you kind of hinted at the end that people are freaked out about some of the other kinds of supplements that are given to animals, and maybe they're conflating these two things, or they're jumping to the conclusion that the treatment is really the thing that's caused the illness in the first place. Because I've heard those kinds of arguments before. It's the use of the antibiotics that causes the milk to be contaminated with all these kinds of things. And I thought it was the other way around. It's one of those questions of which is the cause and which is the effect. And you need to explain a little bit more why it is that this has to be clarified, and it's not just an informative presentation on those subjects. I thought you did an excellent job speaking to the audience. You build a lot of credibility because you seem to know your subject well, and you talk to us very directly. You only have to look at your notes occasionally to be able to get the information there that you were citing, so that's good. Other than that, I think everything was pretty solid. All right, thank you.